So, after many countless requests from my family, friends, and even you guys, my subscribers, today I'm here to give you all what you have been demanding from me. And that is my review of... Hey guys, the Black Critic Guy, finally back with an all-new movie review. And if you're wondering where I am, as this is not my usual background, I'm up in Virginia spending some time with my mother who's up here for military training. But that's not why you guys came to this video. You came here to hear my review of the new Disney live-action remake of the classic Disney animated film, The Jungle Book. So for the one person who doesn't know this story already, The Jungle Book follows Mowgli, a man cub raised by wolves who is forced to leave the jungle due to Shere Khan, a vengeful tiger bent on killing Mowgli at any cost. And together with the Black Panther Bagheera and a bear named Baloo, they journey through the forest meeting strange and terrifying creatures as they try to make their way to the Man Village. Now, as many of my longtime subscribers are well aware of, I made a vow last year that after seeing Cinderella, I would not see any more live-action remakes of classic Disney animated films, no matter how good they turned out to be. And this included The Jungle Book, even though I myself was actually looking forward to the film, as I thought it was a great idea to make a remake of The Jungle Book for the modern era. And I liked the cast that they had. I liked the fact Jon Favreau was directing it, and I liked the fact that they casted an actual Indian kid to play Mowgli. It looked like it was shaping up to be a really fun and exciting remake. But for the sake of my principle, I said, nope, I'm not gonna watch it. And then the movie finally came out, and I had dozens of you, literally dozens of you, messaging me saying, please Tony, I know you made a vow saying you wouldn't watch any more live action remakes of classic Disney animated films, but please watch and review The Jungle Book. It's so good. Please watch it, please watch it for us, please. I even had some of my friends and family come up to me and say, Tony, come and watch The Jungle Book with us. And I'm like, no, I can't watch it because I made this vow. And they're like, just watch the damn movie, Tony, and then you can make your assessment of whether or not it's good or bad. So, knowing me, I finally succumbed to peer pressure and I watched The Jungle Book. And after watching it twice now, I have to say, it was actually really good, guys. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I was pleasantly surprised at how great this film turned out to be and thoroughly entertained by it throughout. So tell us, Tony, what about this film is so great to make you break your vow? Well, there are actually many great elements to The Jungle Book. The first one that really stood out to me was the spectacular visual effects. I'm not even kidding, guys. This is some of the best visual effects I have seen all year, particularly on the animals in the film. They are so realistic both in their appearance and their movements. It is so uncanny that I actually felt like I was seeing real-life animals on screen and not CGI creations. Like, there's this one scene where Shere Khan is walking up to one of the wolves and he lays down just like a tiger would lay down, and there's just like these little subtle movements with the animals, like how their tails would curl up or how their ears would twitch when there's like a bug near it. I mean, it's that attention to detail that really sells the fact that the animals look realistic. And also tying in with the visual effects is the action in the film. Not only did it look really realistic as if there were two animals actually fighting on screen, but my goodness, it was fast-paced and intense. Any fight dealing with Shere Khan, man, I loved watching it. There's a fight at the end of the film that I was just like, oh wow, this looks freaking awesome. That was a fight I always wanted to see in The Jungle Book, and they did not disappoint. Another thing that really stood out in the film was the score. You could almost say that it caught my ear. Get it? Because, oh my goodness, we're back to that again. But no joke, the score in this film is very solid, not only creating some lovely and memorable melodies, but also paying homage to the music of the original film. Like, there are just these orchestrations of the original songs that just sounded really great. Some of my favorites were the ones for Trust in Me and The Bare Necessities, which I really love the orchestrated version of Bare Necessities. I mean, it sounds epic, it sounds thrilling, it was just a really nice touch and a really nice nod to the original. Next, let's talk about the story. The story this time around is much more compelling and much more thrilling than the original film. I mean, thinking back to the original film now and after watching honest trailers and cinema sins, I mean, they make a valid point that the original film didn't have much of a plot. I mean, it was just basically Mowgli walking around the jungle, meeting new characters, and just screwing around. There's not really much of a plot there. There's not a lot of tension. There's not a lot of weight to anything. In this film, the story has so much weight to it, and there's so much going on, and it just kept you riveted throughout the entire film. Definitely, the story has a much more darker tone to it, with peril at each and every corner. And I won't lie, guys, there were some scenes in this film that actually made me feel anxious and uneasy. Like the scene with Kaa. My goodness, Kaa in this film is absolutely terrifying and ginormous. Like in the original film, Kaa was long and all, but he was never really a terrifying character. In fact, he was more of a comic relief character, if anything. In this film, when you see Kaa, you will crap your pants at how huge and horrific the character looks. But at the same time, the character is just so alluring and mesmerizing, especially when it slithers towards you. You just get lost in its eyes. And, you know, having Scarlett Johansson voice the character doesn't help much, as her voice is so alluring as well. Just trust in her. And speaking of the characters in the film are also great. In fact, I would go as far to say that the characters in this film are better represented and more fleshed out than the characters in the original film. And as much as I really enjoyed the original film and I have fond memories of it, I can't deny the fact that I would have loved to see more development with the characters in that film, as I feel like a lot of them were very one-note, one-dimensional, and didn't really have much motivation to them. In this film, that has all changed. They actually flesh out the characters. They make them more interesting and more three-dimensional, especially with the character of Mowgli. I absolutely love what they did with Mowgli in this film. In the original film, you can't deny that Mowgli just came off as a really spoiled brat that always whined and complained like, I don't want to do it, I don't want to do it. There's nothing really interesting about his character. In this film, the character takes a 180 as they actually make him a lot more interesting. I mean, they make him actually very inventive and creative. He thinks outside the box. He maneuvers. He actually has a lot to him, and he actually goes through a lot of development. I love the fact that he actually faces Shere Khan at the very end of the movie instead of having Baloo save him at the very end. I like that. That's very interesting, and it makes his character much more compelling. And I also felt like this film did a better job at exploring the relationship between Mowgli and Baloo. I actually felt like they bonded, they connected, they had a dynamic relationship. And Baloo is still Baloo, the carefree, lovable oaf singing about the bare necessities. Don't go changing, man. And Bill Murray did an excellent job at voicing the character. In fact, all the voice actors did stellarly in their performances, from Scarlett Johansson as Kaa to Ben Kingsley as Bagheera. My two personal favorites, though, were Christopher Walken as King Louie. Whenever he would speak, I couldn't help but smile and laugh. I mean, hearing Christopher Walken talking like Christopher Walken voicing King Louie. I mean, tell me that doesn't bring a smile to your face. And I'm not even kidding you guys. There is a scene where Mowgli is walking up to King Louie's palace and he picks up a literal cowbell and starts ringing it, and in the back of my mind I'm just like, oh, you clever bastards. I like that little Easter egg, because you got Christopher Walken to voice King Louie in that whole sketch with SNL, like, I need more cowbell. I can even imagine like King Louie just like, no kid, I need you to ring that cowbell just a little more. If he said that, I would have lost it. I literally would have lost it. But that was a really nice Easter egg, guys. Really good Easter egg. But hands down, the best voice performance in the entire film goes to Idris Elba as Shere Khan. Without question, as he brought the intensity and the ferocity through his voice work alone. As if the character wasn't intense enough, because guys, much like Kaa in this film, Shere Khan got an upgrade and turned into a really terrifying character. Like, every time you saw him on screen, you would have this uneasy feeling, wondering what he's gonna do next, as he was so unpredictable, like a tiger. He just had this gaze to him that showed that he wasn't messing around, and if you get in his way of killing Mowgli, he will take you out as well. Like, he just had this commanding presence. He was a really well done villain in the film, and as much as I love the original Shere Khan for his debonair charms and stuff, I can't deny I do love the more ferocious approach to Shere Khan. He felt more tiger-like in this film than he did in the original, but I still love the original. And lastly, the finale to the film was well done and thrilling throughout, and I love the way that they ended the film. That was the ending I always wanted to see for The Jungle Book, and they finally gave it to me here in the remake. But as much as I really got a kick out of this film, guys, I did have a couple issues with it. The first one being is the overabundance of CGI in this film. Now, I know many of you are going to find this statement a bit contradictory, as I just praised the film for its visual effects at the beginning of this review. And I still stand by that statement, but when I was praising the visual effects, I was more or less praising the visual effects done on the animals in the film. Like, those are just amazing, they're flawless. But the visual effects used for the backgrounds and sceneries, they were hit or miss. Sometimes they looked fantastic, like some gorgeous shots, but other times it looked really fake and cheap, like they were obviously standing in front of a green screen. Like, there's this one scene where Mowgli's on top of a cliff, and the background behind him looks so flat that I'm like, oh, there's the green screen. Okay, I see that. Oh man, come on, you were doing so well. And I just would have loved to see more real sets in this film. I mean, come on, Disney, you have a lot of money. Use some real sets now and again. Now, this next issue comes with an asterisk that I'll explain later. And that issue is with the kid actor that portrays Mowgli in the film. I, for one, felt like his performance was a bit weak, lackluster, and very unconvincing. Now, before any of you type in the comments, note, I did say that this issue comes with an asterisk, as I'm going to give this kid leeway for two major reasons. First off, he is a young first-time actor, and we all know that young first-time actors aren't as good when they're starting off. You know, all of them can't be the next River Phoenix or Leonardo DiCaprio's. Some of them aren't that good. They're still learning the craft of acting and getting comfortable performing in front of a camera, so I understand that. And secondly, for a first-time young actor, he did the best he could playing off of CGI characters. Again, it's really hard to just imagine that there's a talking bear right next to you. I mean, yes, kids have wild imaginations, but even when portraying that in like a film, it's still really hard to do. So I give the kid some leeway there. You know, it's his first performance, and for his first performance, he has to play off of CGI talking animals. It's really hard. But also, I think with Disney's money and Disney's resources, they could have found a kid actor that could have pulled it off and still fit that same age range and that same ethnicity, in my opinion. But still, I give the kid leeway. And the last issue that I found with this film, and you might see this as a nitpick, is the fact that they threw in the classic songs from the original film. Now, I don't have a problem with them adding the Bare Necessities and I Want to Be Like You into the film, but I didn't really feel like it was necessary. It felt like it was really forced as to pay homage to the original. Like, hey, it's the scene where they're floating down the river singing Bare Necessities like in the original. I mean, you don't have to follow the original beat by beat. In fact, this film doesn't really follow the original beat by beat, but the fact that they threw in those things from the original, I felt like kind of challenged the identity that this film was trying to establish for itself, to be its own retelling of the Jungle Book story. But by putting the original songs, they're like, no, it's like the original film, remember? Not to mention, sometimes the song even ruins the mood of the scene. Like, there's this really intense scene where you see King Louie, and he's massive. He's not actually an orangutan in this one. He's actually the Gigantopithecus. It's one of the missing links that was believed to exist in that very region, by the way. And he's like talking to Mowgli, almost like he's a mob boss, which I thought was really cool. But all of a sudden, I hear this jolly music playing in the background. I'm like, oh no, please, don't do it. And all of a sudden, he's just like, no, don't try to trick me, man cub. I'm like, no, you ruined this intense scene. And now I'm just laughing because I'm hearing Christopher Walken sing I Want to Be Like You. And funny enough, when he was singing To Be Like You, when he's doing the ooby-doo, it actually sounds like a monkey, like going ooh, ooh, ooh. I thought that was really clever. But it just ruined that whole entire scene that was so tense. And like, I was on the edge of my seat, and all of a sudden, now it turned into a silly rendition of I Want to Be Like You. Damn it! But besides those small glaring issues, overall, this was an excellent retelling of the Jungle Book story that not only stands out when compared to the original, but also surpasses it as it fixes many of the issues the original had. And it just made for a much more compelling, much more interesting, and much more entertaining film. And that's why I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I do think that it is one hell of a film, and I highly recommend, if you have not seen it, to go check it out. I am definitely glad that I decided to see it instead of skipping it and missing out on this really fun experience. But anyway, boobadoo, what you think of the film? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. But what did you guys think about the film? Did you really enjoy it? Did you get a kick out of it? Or did you find it really boring and dull and you really like the original more? And let me know, which one did you prefer? The original or the remake? Comment below and let me know. And since I'm up here in Virginia and I have a lot of free time, I'm gonna try my best to catch up on a lot of things. Please let me catch up on so many things. I got so much to do. I'm so behind. But hopefully I can catch up on them while I'm up here. I got so much time on my hands, so hopefully get that Cowboy Bebop review done before I leave here. And also, I'm going to be at Playlist Live this Friday, Saturday, and a little of Sunday, so come check me out. I'll have more information once I figure out what I'm going to be doing at Playlist Live. And until then, guys, if you'd like to see more videos on this channel, be a part of the Black Critic Guy, please hit that subscribe button below, like this video if you really enjoyed it, and I'm Tony Watt II, the Black Critic Guy. Till then, peace, YouTube!